All right, I work for OC16, obviously. We're in our 36th season of high school football, started back in 1989. If you watch any high school football between 1989 and roughly 2015, our next inductee was probably on your television screen. He'll join Roy Chong as a Hall of Famer, and so there's only one of him. Let's meet Jim Beavers.
With more than half a century of experience, Oklahoma-born Jim Beavers has been a touchstone in Hawaii officiating. After working youth games in the mid-50s, he moved to the Aloha State in 1960, joined the Oahu Football Referees Association in 1972, where he would eventually become commissioner in 1999.
Actually, we used to take our meetings at Kaimuki High School. So the first time I met him was in a classroom, Kaimuki High School. And I was thinking, well, who's this guy? This guy's pretty smart. He knows what he's talking about. But better yet, he was a good person to look up to as far as on the field and off the field, how he carried himself, his presence. So that was pretty good.
When I first started in 1980, Jim was already, has been around for a while. He was, very respected. You always knew that if Jim was going to be working the game, that you're going to get a good official.
After being handpicked by former commissioner and 2018 Hall of Famer Roy Chong to succeed him, Jim's leadership transformed the association to what it is today, implementing ways to help grow the group and improve their skills on the field.
As an official, he was good, okay? I mean, taught us good, he taught everyone good, he was good. As a friend, just as good, because he get us places to, we use his house for, I'm the assigner for that. So we go over to his house and do the assignment, or to his workplace. We had clinics at his workplace when he's working with Hawaiian Electric.
We started making a mechanics manual, and he asked me to be part of that committee. So we used to go over his house, and a whole bunch of us, and we worked on that manual. And they kept adding to the manual or improving it throughout the years. So that really helped too, with having that mechanics manual and all the training that was getting on and off the field.
He was open to helping anybody. For us, he helped me educate my coaches. He would do coaching clinics for our coaches, come out anytime we wanted, every year. He offered to every coach, in the OA. I don't know how many took him up on it, but I know a lot of them did. And that's Jim. He'd take the time to go do it. So a lot of it was for the kids.
And he was a fixture in the youth sports community, serving as president of the Kailua Mustang Pop Warner program, working Little League Baseball and even ILH softball. On the gridiron, Jim worked some of the biggest games in the sport, including the 2000 HHSA Championship, 8 Prep Bowls, and countless OA Championship games. And with Jim on the field, you knew what you were going to get.
Game control, always knew when he was on the field that the game would run smooth. But I like to say niele. He's always wanting to know what's going on.
Jim is Jim. I see him the same way all the time, But like I said, I see him in a good way, approachable, not somebody you'd be afraid to talk to. There's some people that you don't want to ask them a question because they might bark at you. Jim was never that way.
And he never stopped giving. After being sidelined from officiating due to heart issues in 2015, his passion for the game and for the people around it never wavered. Currently, he serves as a liaison and evaluator for the Oahu Football Officials Association, always willing to lend a helping hand. And it's that selfless spirit that's been the secret to his longevity.
He still comes to the meeting. He's still one of the strong members. He recruits for us.
The love of the game, the high school game here, and also the officials. He want to see the best guys out, developing and moving up. Oh, Jim is one of the guys.
Because usually when people talk about football that I know, they always talk about Jim. Jim was here, Jim did this, And honestly, nothing negative. just always positive stuff like, you know, Jim helped me do this. You know, if it wasn't for Jim, I couldn't get to where I am today.
Sooner or later, the man from Oklahoma was due for the Hall, continuing a legacy in the islands that will last a lifetime.
Well, Jim, it's about time. It's been too long that you haven't been inducted, but I'm glad you did. Congratulations.
Jim, congratulations. You know, I'm very happy for you. Couldn't happen to a better person. You know, thank you for all those years. I mean, I'm not in coaching anymore. I'm going to miss it, I know. But I'll be more on the sidelines watching. And yeah, I look forward to continue seeing you guys, other officials, and hopefully yourself at a lot of the games. But thank you and congratulations. You know, you deserve it.
Let's make it official. Congratulations to our next inductee into the 2024 Hawaii Sports Officials Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Beavers.
Thank you all. First of all, the reason why I don't walk so well is a double hip transplants last year, so I'm just learning to re-walk again. And you should have it when you're young, not when you're old. But anyway, but thanks to all of the board of directors and Cal and all of them for selecting me. I've been on part of the committee since the beginning, and I've been lucky. But you know, you wait your turn, and that's okay. Because in Hawaii, be patient, you know, keep doing what you do, and there's good things. I certainly want to thank my family, and I'm going to ask them all to stand up. They're not going to be happy to do that, but they are in the corner, including my adopted son, Gary Daniels. They kind of adopted. Stand up, please. And so with the Lays, I feel like a Punahou grad too, you know. But anyway, but certainly I want to thank my wife, you know, and particularly, you know, you need to understand how I got here in Hawaii. You know, I was not born here. They said Oklahoma is actually Kansas, in a house for unwed mothers. But anyway, those are the kind of exciting things you learn as you grow along, that maybe when you're about 60 years old, you're adopted, and you go, oh my God, who am I? But anyway, but about 65 years ago today, or this week, I was at a football game at Oklahoma State University with Kansas State, and they were celebrating or recognizing Hawaii's entry into the Union as the 50th state. And part of the thing of the band was acknowledging that, and they had a hula dancer. And the hula dancer came out, and I said, wow, that'd be terrific to meet somebody like that. About 2 or 3 months later, I had a blind date with the said hula dancer, okay? We now have 4 children, 5 grandchildren, and 6.5 great-grandchildren. And so Dorothy, so thank you. She has been the rock of me for absolutely all these years. Yeah. What happened is, you know, I have to give a couple anecdotes for my granddaughters, particularly the one that's at Hawaii in California. She used to visit with her dad here, and every so often she would watch the games, and she would listen to how the guys talk, and she was, wow, because she went to a French-American school in San Francisco. That gives you a clue how she was raised. But what she would do, I would tell her, hey, you know, if you're going to watch me on TV, I'm going to tell you hi. She said, no, you won't, Grandpa. Yes, I will. And so sure enough, there'd be a touchdown. And I got away with it for a long time, but she had appreciated that. And then my daughter, she was reminding me when she got ready to go off to college to Colorado, you know, this was in the September or August, And I had a game, of course. You have to have a game. With Roy Chong insisted that you have a game. And so I was at Radford. So as soon as the game was pal, I drove really fast over to the airport with uniform in hand, out to the gate to say goodbye to her. Okay, and she says, my dad, he really did that, But she had to sacrifice a lot. She had gone to Farrington and all of those games for her birthday, and knowing that, her dad did these things. But that's what I did. It's the other things that you need to know how I got here, though. Without all of you, I think I would be in Oklahoma, in the hot, dusty areas of Altus, Oklahoma, or in the deserts of Texas, But fortunately, because of Dora and Hawaii, I came to Hawaii sight unseen at a job at the Rating Bureau at $4 an hour. That was big money in 1960. However, I had the best people in the world to work with, the most diversified group that really set me on the straight and narrow for the first 3 years that I worked with them. And then later on, I was able to get with Hawaiian Electric, a whopping $7 an hour, but that was not bad. But anyway, it really helped me learn the people of Hawaii, and they became me. I still teach at HCC, in the Sept curriculum since 1972, because I like to talk, but that's another story. But I want to always feel like I have to give back, because it is important. It's not just football. It's the life. This is the safety, the life. That I was a safety director and manager at Hawaiian Electric for like 45 years. But it's what you do. It's what you give. And so the diversified people like you really have made the difference. And in Hawaii, I have to always remind people of the story that I heard, that I lived. When, in the early 50s, I would listen to in a radio in the deserts of Texas where we lived, a radio station that had the Detroit Lions on it. And they had the Honolulu Blue and the silver. And then they had a guy named Charlie Ani playing for them. And I thought, oh, Charlie Ani. Wow, that was, and from Honolulu, and I thought, oh, that's terrific. Later on, I worked with him at Hawaiian Electric. I did a lot of his games when he was coaching at Radford and Damien and all of those others, and he said, isn't it life interesting? A guy that you would hear and then you got to meet and you got to work with, and you get to love. And then his son, Cully, coached a couple of my sons, at Punahou. So it's one of those good things that I do appreciate and that. So, but I also wanted to thank all of the football officials. They're in the back there, as well as the two tables, adjacent to ours, and thank them all for that, because without them, I would have never made it. And they always treated me like I was something, which kind of scared me too. I really had, and like the Frank Whites and the Earl Galderas, and George Gussman and Bob Duffy and Brian Souza and a guy named Roy Chong, who was the commissioner, rugged guy. Most people feared him like death. Okay, and I worked with him for 27 years. I got many phone calls. Why did you do this? And he would watch me at Kalani High School, like breathing down my throat. But he made me an official. That I had to be a perfectionist. I couldn't ask people to do something that I wouldn't do myself, okay, no matter what. And those guys, in the years as I was commissioner, I watched what I said, because I know you have to live up to what you say, you better darn well do. But anyway, there's other guys in the Quateros, Mel and Mike, Reese Amimoto, and Lloyd Hisaka, and Robert Victor, and Sam Wilson. And Sam is such a sweetheart guy, taking care of his wife, who's quite ill out in Kapolei. But Brian Alos and Van Peterson, Cal, and Danny, Sean McCurran, Pat Gallagher, Craig Shaner, the Machados, and the Cookie Girl. And I have to share the Sheridan thing, because one of the things in football is it's who you are, not just on the game, but they had a daughter, the Machados had a daughter that was with them. She was 3 years old, and for some silly, dumb reason, I said, where's her cookies? And she said, oh, where's your cookie? And so we had this affair that she and I went through, that she just graduated from Farrington this year, okay, the Cookie Girl, and she's there. So I'm gonna ask her to stand up. She's a real sweetheart, okay? And really a nice young lady, okay? And you notice they're all wearing things, because the Machados is a very special bunch of people, let me tell you, they really are. So that was the thing. And then we had Chris the Hook Fagan. So this is why I will be short, okay? In our meetings there, we start at 6:30 promptly, and at 8 o'clock he comes up with the hook. And poor Cal goes, "Ugh." But now, because you get home, people home early, instead of staying Monday nights where they have to go to work the next day and they go out to Moana and stuff, it gives them respect. Something I didn't do when I was a commissioner, but that's okay. But anyway. And then, we had the new guys, like Jay Flom, Keone David, and we have all of the new people. And this year they have a biggest crop they've ever had in all of the years of the newer officials. And what you just want is them to be happy, stay with you, and stay with football, and enjoy the same life we have. And then finally, I was a young friend of mine, or not, he's not young, but yeah, he is. Alden Ishii, he was from HECO, Hawaiian Electric, and he replaced me as the director of safety in the years I went to become a manager. But Alden was a very special person. What's interesting is that one of the first games that he played at McKinley, and my son Mark was a ball boy when I was on the chain gang at Honolulu Stadium. And it was one of those wonderful rainy evenings, in Manoa Makiki, and Moiliili, and so the players were playing, Mark would be the ball boy, he would run out, and come to find out he was the only thing that was dry with his white hair, because he was blonde hair, and they would put mud all over, and he was so happy. He was so happy, that he was part of the organization and part of football. So, so Alden, I appreciate you coming tonight. He and I have not seen each other for about 5 or 6 years, but it was that. And finally, one of the officials, when I was talking to him the other night, he said, one of the things, please say something, the good words. You always do that. I thought, well, I'm not so sure I do always do that, but let me tell you this. It's something I tell the students at each HCC when we try to make them change their lives, into the safety community. And we've told them now there's like 50 jobs available, and within a couple of years, you too can be out there making 6 figures. And they go, and their eyes get big, and because they can. All they need to do is study and pay attention. But what you want to do is, first of all, stay young, stay active. My wife says, how can you possibly stay active? You teach 3 nights a week, you're at football Friday and Saturdays. Well, there's Wednesday. But it's been that way of my whole life. I've had many lives, from JC's in the state and all up and down the chain. But remember your priorities, and remember your family is key, to your success. But also be positive, and always be enthusiastic. With the crew, I was always, no matter how bad a day I had, I would always be positive with everybody on that crew. Because if you get down on them, you ain't seen nothing yet then. So you learn to stay positive and to stay and that is how you succeed. In your life, you stay positive, and then the world will take care of you. But thank you all for putting up with me, and the families, and all of you, and the football officials. I do appreciate everything you've done for me and treated me good. I'm like almost 84 now, and intend to at least another 5 years at least, and then we'll be fine. But thank you so much. I do appreciate it.